Hello everyone, it's Toby from Toby's Urban Sketch, and today I want to talk to you about composition, about framing, about using thumbnails to really get our image, our painting off right from the very beginning. And there's a few ways that we can do this, a few little techniques that I'll show you that I use, and just a few ways of thinking about things as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So what I'd like to talk about now is something really important. I want to talk about framing things, choosing our focal point in particular. And there's a couple of sort of mechanisms or rules you can follow. One of the simplest and most effective is this concept of a grid of thirds. So this is the idea that you can split whatever your frame is, be it a circle, a square, a rectangle, a traditional A4 piece of paper. You can split it into thirds, horizontally and vertically. And then where those lines meet, this is where you're sort of aiming to approximately place your focal point. So if we use an example here, I've got a photo of Ashbridge House, which is in the UK. And we've got this obvious focal point. And by placing it along one of those lines, we bring attention to it, but without overdoing the symmetry, without making it too pretty. And then there's a little spar in the background, and if we place that on our other area, so we manipulate the image a little bit, we're not drawing exactly what's life, but we manipulate our image, or we get the right viewpoint, then we can build up these primary and secondary focal points. So one of your focal points will be on those overlapping dots on one side, and on the other side, or on just one dot, is your secondary focal point. And this is, the primary focal point is going to have the most detail, the most color, the most time spent on it, whilst the secondary focal point is obviously going to have a bit less, but more than the surrounding. Now, a common mistake is to pop things in the middle, and I say mistake because a focal point in the middle can work. You can see the photo that I've taken, the focal point's pretty much in the middle, and for me, it's not that good a photo. It sort of provides this feeling of tension because it's too trying to be symmetrical, but it's not quite. So that it's not exactly in the middle, is it? And there's things either side which aren't the same, and you can just suddenly tell everything's not quite right. Whereas if you pop it off to one side, that just gives your eye somewhere to look and also somewhere to travel through the rest of the image. So I'd strongly advise just experimenting with this grid and seeing how you go. So in composition, there's also this concept of the Fibonacci spiral. And now I don't sort of think about it when I'm doing my sketches. I use the rule of thirds really in my head. But it's a really interesting way of demonstrating some other principles of composition. So the Fibonacci spiral, the golden spiral, looks something like this. And you can turn that around, so you could flip it up or whatever, but the basic principle is a sort of swirl which starts in one area, comes all the way around and ends in the other corner. And if we then draw our rule of thirds on top of that, what do we notice? Well, all of this is focused on one side with a lesser focus down the other side and plenty of space going on sort of in between. And the reason I find it helpful is one, it backs up what we talk about with the rule of thirds, but two, it sort of shows the importance of flow going through an image. So you want your eye to sort of always have somewhere to travel. So you'll be looking over here, and then you'll have some way of your eye traveling along. So that might be that you have a building here, a little building here, and then maybe you've just got some people before you get your other building. But now you've suddenly got this swirl which takes you through that whole scene. In another landscape you might have a tree, and a tree, say, in a sort of mountain that builds up over here, but what you might have is a load of dramatic clouds or some birds in the sky. And again, perhaps your eye's been taken like this, if your focus has been on the sky, or perhaps your eye's been taken like this, if your focus is in all this landscape. But it just shows you where this detail, where the colour, the contrast, everything should be focused. And that's called the Fibonacci, apologies for my spelling, but the Fibonacci spiral, or the golden spiral. So the next thing I want to talk about is the use of thumbnails, which I was doing a little bit of just there with the grid, and how we decide to, how to orientate, or what position we put our focal point and our image in. So the first is a couple of options for doing a portrait composition. And you can see this photo is a sort of not very good photo again, but it's a dark night and it's square or perhaps landscape. But we can decide we're going to make it portrait. And by doing that, what's the advantage? Well, one of the things I love about portrait is it opens up that sky, because look at that gorgeous night sky, all those textures and the uplighting. So by popping everything down on the bottom, and we'll still have our focal point on one of those overlapping points, but then we have this huge sky to play with. And the other potentially more obvious way of utilizing a portrait orientation is that the sort of portraitness, the upright nature of something, or the tallness of a structure is suddenly exaggerated. So not necessarily exaggerated, but emphasized. So this tall building, which is in Portugal, for example, is suddenly very tall within this narrow frame. And you can cut off a bit of the frame to a bit of the building to emphasize that even more, as I've done in this little thumbnail. So what's the next thing to talk about? Well, it's landscape, really, isn't it? So landscapes are obviously good for landscapes, but why are they good for landscapes? Well, it's because they're expansive, and they show how wide something is. Like the portrait can emphasize the tallness, this can emphasize the wideness, the broadness of the landscape, the fact that there's so much going on. This is such a big thing we're looking at. It can make you feel like there's just so much out there. It can also be good, for urban landscapes. If you're getting in a lot of different details, for example, like drawing a cityscape where you're focusing on how broad this area is, or getting a sense of scale to the ground, rather than necessarily wanting to focus on this super dramatic sky. And then there are lots of other ways of framing things. So you can, for example, use a natural archway, or be looking out of a window. And maybe your frame then becomes an arch, or it becomes a circle, or it becomes a cut-off square. And that gives this kind of sense of mystery, or discovery, or exploration. So you're looking out onto somewhere. You're not quite there yet, but you're going to get there. And then maybe that seems really bright, and it can be a sort of happy exploration, like you're about to go on holiday. Or it can be dark, and it can be sort of foreboding, but it gives that element of unknown, of almost getting there. Another way of generating that kind of locked in feeling perhaps is by having your buildings encroach on the side, or maybe it's a tree encroaching in a natural landscape. So suddenly the frame isn't a circle or a square, but it's these two lines which are big buildings or big structures closing in your scene. And that makes it feel claustrophobic, crowded, busy. It's a really lovely way of capturing a crowded street or an old street. You know, you can imagine the kind of Edinburgh alley, for example, or the Yorkshire shambles, or a small back alley in Melbourne. All these kind of things where you've got this kind of enclosed space, and if you just show that by framing it. The next thing that I want to talk about is how we then utilize these thumbnails to really get to grips with the tone and the contrast. And a really good tip that I think I pretty much was the first drawing lesson I ever had. Someone said squint. So just sort of almost shut your eyes, and then you'll be able to see, not much, but you'll be able to see what's the brightest bit and what's the darkest bit. And then from that, you can start in your thumbnail sketches just doing some shading or some cross-hatching to show where that tone is, where the highest tone is. And the highest tone is what gives you the contrast. So looking at something with the biggest value of mark, of depth, of colour, of tone, of whatever, of shadow, against the brightest light. And suddenly you've got something really dynamic in front of you. So can you see with these just really basic bits of hatching I'm doing really quickly, suddenly the ones I've applied some hatching and shadow to have got so much more shape and life than the ones which I've left unhatched or done less shading on. And what this is giving you is that dynamic sense. It's giving you that drama. It's giving more shape, making it more 3D. And it's also a great way of showing off your focal point, having really high elements of contrast on it.